Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Our guy Charlie Usen over there, other side of the glass. Nicely done, sir, last night. Pro Hoops Draft Show. Him, Brian Butch, Brandon Snide did an amazing job. In fact, I was talking to one of our fine affiliates earlier today, and without even bringing it up, the guy's like, hey, man, that was a really good draft show last night. I listened to it. It was really good. It was really good. Those draft profiles, the Tommy Wirtz voice and our guy John McDonough put together, those really sounded good last night, too. The scouting profiles, we use BabcockHoops.com for all the scouting profile stuff, trying to get Matt Babcock on. But it was good, man. It was really good. It was funny. I was listening to it. The Bucks were up with their first pick, and I put on a next. I'm like, okay, well, this has to be Burries. This is the obvious choice. It has to be Burries here, right? Knowing they wanted Amon, but I was like, there's no way you're passing on Burries at 10. If they would have passed on Burries at 10 and then he doesn't get to him at 13, I would have been livid. And I'm listening to Brian Butch. Brian Butch's like, they got a bunch of point guards. They're not going to take Burries. There's no way. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm listening. I'm like, dude, he's going to play shooting guard. He's not going to play point guard on this team. He's going to play next to Rollins. Again, I'm not a coach. I don't know what Jenkins is going to do, but I'm assuming he is going to be the shooting guard next to Ryan Rollins in this backcourt once they get rid of Hero. And so I'm listening.
If
boom,
they get rid of Hero.
Right.
They haven't done it yet.
But
so.
the great thing, they're going to get rid of Hero. I promise you. I don't care if he's on this roster in October. He will be gone by the deadline. They cannot allow that dude to walk for nothing and not get a pick.
Well,
they need a first-round pick in 27. That's how they're going to get it.
The market for Austin Reeves was apparently insane, and Tyler Hero, I would say, is right around the same kind of player.
Correct.
In value, at least, and these other teams were willing to give a max contract to Austin Reeves.
Yeah, $40 to $50 million over 4 years, and $185 for Austin Reeves. Good Lord. No chance I would have paid him that. But anyways, so I'm listening. Then he lets the cat out of the bag last night about Amon, because remember, we had him on this show, and I was like, yeah, I don't want that dude, whatever, right? Oh, Sparky, what are you talking about? I like him, blah, blah, blah. Then he lets the cat out of the bag last night that he talked to a Bucks personnel guy who eyes lit up, and I love that guy. I'm listening. I'm like, man, you sneaky Brian Butch. You didn't say that on our show. So he lets the cat out of the bag. So I was like, they better
wait
not.
A little bit, he said.
And I'm watching. I'm like, if they take Amon over Burries and they don't get Burries, I'm going to lose my mind. So then Burries goes. I was like, okay, there you go, John Horst. Nicely done. Now let's see what you do at 13. And it was so smart. It was so smart of him. He played it well. Now, he could have got screwed. Somebody could have traded up. But the next two teams were, what, Golden State and OKC. They weren't going to take a project. So you felt good about, there's no way they're taking a project. You knew Yaxel was going to one of those two guys.
Yeah.
Felt really good about it. So I was like, okay, Amon should get there if he wants him. So now they're on the clock, and I was like, okay, this is Amon now. They get their guy that they love, plus they got the bonus pop of a guy that shouldn't have been there in Burries to go along with it. We'll get more into this at 240, but I don't personally think it could have gone much better. Maybe they were trying to get up, and they couldn't to the top 5, top 6, and nobody was able to. But as far as how it played, I thought it played really well for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right. And I think that Burries, the Golden State Warriors, were going to draft him. You saw their draft room immediately after that and how kind of tense it looked there, because I think as reports have come out, they say they like Lendenberg and Burries at the same amount, and they were both tied at number 2 behind Cam Boozer on their draft board and everything. So if they got the chance to trade up, they're going to try to do that. But if not, it's going to be Burries next. I think they see Burries as a guy in Steve Kerr's potential final season and Steph Curry coming out here and getting towards the end of his career. He could be the next Steph Curry. I think Lendenberg, they just go, well, maybe he could be the next Jimmy Butler. So we're going to put him behind Jimmy Butler. He'll learn from Jimmy Butler, maybe get to that point there.
He's closer to Draymond than he is Jimmy
Well,
Butler.
I think you're going to have him learn from both. in the situation.
He doesn't. I don't think he's good enough to ever be Jimmy Butler. But either way,
I mean, Draymond's a Hall of Fame player, so
sure, he's a great role player,
good too.
Right? But now the problem is Yaxel's going to get put into a situation that's not going to have as much challenge what Draymond got to play with. But either way, I think he's a good player. So either way, I liked how it all played out. I thought it was very, very well done by John Horst. We'll get your thoughts on the draft coming up later in the hour. Obviously, we got to start talking about what everybody's talking about, right? The Giannis piece by Ozarski. Now, Jim Ozarski, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, who we just had on. We have him on all the time. I love me some Jim Ozarski. If there was any chance of there being a public war between the Bucks and Giannis, any chance at all, it just rose by about 100% after that piece. There's no question. Because, first of all, if I'm Giannis, I'm responding. Like, I'm not going to take that one lying down. Like, there is going to be a response. Now, everything that was said in there, he's got his sources and all these and everything else, right? So I look at all of this in the piece and go, factual, right? I don't look at it and go, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I don't do that. I read the whole thing. And by the way, it is. If you print that thing out, we did. It's 32 pages.
Yeah, it's long.
Dude, I got carpal tunnel just thinking about typing that thing out. I don't even know how Jim Ozarski's on it. Yeah, my phone died literally while I was reading it. I had to go get the paper copy that Tommy Wirtz printed out for everybody earlier in the show or earlier in the day. Anyways, as you read this long piece, and if you haven't read it, definitely highly advise you reading it. The one thing that I don't think was put in, and maybe it's because we don't know, what flipped Giannis? Who flipped Giannis? Somebody did. At some point in 2019, 2020, somebody got in his brain about, hey, dog, you better win your championships now because time's running out. You better take control of that organization. You better tell them what you want. You better make sure you're involved. Like, you better do this because before you know it, it's going to be over and you're going to have a lot of regrets if you don't raise up and use your voice. Somebody got to that dude. Now, I don't have any fathomable idea of who that might be. Could have been his agents. Could have been a player on his team. Could have been a player on another team. Could have been a retired player. Could have been anybody. But something definitely feels like something flipped to how he got to where he was in 2020 going forward. As you read this piece, the idea of, oh, Giannis is so nice. Oh, Giannis is so great. Oh, we all love Giannis. You realize quickly that what you see is not what you get. That ain't the same thing, man. And remember, who was it? Lewis was arguing with me about he plays hard every night.
Yeah, it was Lewis.
Go read that piece. They were documenting game after game. Quit shooting. Just quit playing. Come on, man. And I said this year. I didn't say his whole career. I said this year there were games where you could question whether or not he was all in or not.
Well, and in a little bit of his defense, reading other parts of this article that weren't about Giannis, I would get frustrated with the people around me too that were saying
I understand. I'm just talking about what we talked about earlier with Lewis. So clearly that was happening. That's number one. Number two. The Budenholzer piece of this really is something else. From getting mad, apparently, according to the story, that Budenholzer wasn't fired like immediately after the one season. And the fact that they waited 7 days apparently irritated Giannis, that they waited that long to fire Bud. To fast forward a couple years, and he's in the Suns locker room telling everybody how Bud was the greatest coach he's ever had and blah, 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 and praising Bud this and praising Bud that. And then you read further, and Giannis talking about how, man, if I was ever going to be a coach, I'd be like Bud. I'd be more militant. I'd be more this. I'd be more that. Dude, back there trying to get him run out anyhow. And he wanted him run out before that, if you read the piece. And the front office was staying with Bud. We had Eric Name on from The Athletic, a couple of years ago, whatever it was. And Eric Name even said they were firing Bud. If they lost that series against the Nets in the playoffs, he was gone. Like, gone. See ya. They were done. They were moving on. But he won a championship. You win a championship, you get an extension. I don't give a damn what sport you're in. You get something for that. So they did. And then they had to continue on knowing that that was probably going to end. But yeah, he was behind that. The Adrian Griffin hire, which we've said all along that dude was involved in, which all along there was denial. You just go through and look at all of this in this story and you're like, yeah, everybody was right. He was involved in damn near everything. He didn't know about Lillard and he didn't know about Miles Turner. He didn't know that was coming. He knew he wanted a scoring guard more than what he had. That he knew. But he didn't realize that it was going to essentially be a point guard to replace Drew Holiday. And then you get further into the article and he starts talking about how he misses Middleton. He misses Holiday. You know what that is? Getting old. You're missing guys that you have more things in common with, guys that are more mentally built like you're built, have your drive and so forth. And they had built a locker room with a lot of dudes with the same mindset that were all bought in. And over the course of time, as they started to pull things away to try to get this championship win now mode every year, otherwise Giannis may not sign, Giannis may not come back, and scrambling to make him want to stay, you broke up that locker room trying for immediate fixes to keep that dude happy. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, the locker room culture sucked, which we talked about. And it all blew up in their face. Now, the other part of this concerning Giannis is the Adrian Griffin part of it we knew too, because Eric Name wrote about that too back after it happened, about Giannis worrying at night about what they were going to do the next game, having to figure out how to run practice and all of this. Like he just took himself, put himself in there, drawing up plays, yelling and screaming at guys in the locker room and drawing up plays. They're in a shower after one game. Everybody screaming yelling at each other in the shower after a game. To his point, this was something that he did not know when he got here, had to learn on his own. In his mind, he was trying to be a leader. He was trying to be the coach because he didn't think Adrian Griffin was doing it correctly. And then Doc Rivers wasn't doing it correctly. And then he wanted Doc gone, but didn't want to say anything because of all the other ripple effects that he said that got everything wrong and screwed up. Every other time he voiced his opinion, he was wrong. So this time he said, well, I'm not saying nothing. But he wasn't buying in on Doc, and it was checked out on Doc by that point. And then the whole Miles Turner thing happens. Then he's livid that they moved on and did all of that without ever talking to him. Then he's livid that he doesn't get to play one game with both of his brothers on the floor. He was mad about that. This is far worse than Aaron Rodgers. Like this ain't even remotely close to Aaron Rodgers. That's not a thing. And I don't even think it's Brett. Yeah, you had Rodgers screwing over LaFleur in the beginning where he's calling McCarthy plays and that stuff. Sure. But I never heard of Brett or Aaron pulling the crap that was going on with Giannis. At any point did I ever hear any of that stuff going on. Just did not. There's another part of the story. I said it's 32 pages long. So grab a cup of coffee, a soda, glass of hot cocoa. Maybe not now, but sit down. It's going to take you a good 20, 25 minutes to read that thing. And maybe I'm not the fastest reader, but it took me a while. Talking about how Giannis was calling everybody selfish and doing that whole thing. Then Jim Owczarski points out that he's caught on the floor with the next coach ex-Bucks coach, talking about, hey, you knew how to get me the ball more. You knew I had to get the ball. You knew how to get me the ball more than how these guys don't get me the ball more. But yet they're selfish. And he's out there saying this stuff. Pat Connaughton quotes all over, name attached. That was interesting. Because if I was Pat Connaughton, if I'm boys with Giannis, I don't want to be in that piece. I don't want my name attached to anything involving that piece. No chance. I'm out. Like, if I'm Giannis and I read that, me and Pat Connaughton, we're done. It's over.
Well, maybe they didn't really have that close of a relationship in the first place.
Maybe not.
I think that might be part of it, that he just felt like he was an observer in the background.
Connaughton, whether he meant to put him on blast or not, pretty much said, hey, man, when you're operating under the eye of a barrel or whatever the case may be of, we have to win now, all the time, sometimes you do things you wouldn't do if you weren't in that, and you're making emotional decisions based off of how the season ended, trying to help this dude win a championship every year. And it clouds judgment, screws up judgment. Very factual, very true. Agree 1,000%.
And I think it's why he may not be afraid to say that, because that's true in a lot of situations.
Yes.
Like, this isn't the first time this has all happened in the NBA. This isn't the first time it's all happened in sports before. Like, the Denver Nuggets have been freaking out for the past season and a half since they won their championship, firing their head coach.
Yep.
They're going down the exact same path that the Bucks have gone down.
Sure.
They're going through the same exact freak out. And I think we're going to find out eventually that Nikola Jokic is somebody that's not going to come out and say anything, because he never comes out and says anything, but he's probably putting a lot of pressure under the Nuggets right now to make changes and make them a championship team, because that's just how this goes. This is what star players do. Again, like we keep talking about, what's so frustrating that the information, all the background of this has to come out now instead of just Giannis being front facing about what he wants.
As you read this piece, there's also multiple times where it's pointed out that Giannis was lying to the media. Also not sitting well with the front office and ownership when he was just front-facing, lying about things that happened. Again, smiley, shiny, we want our kids to be like Giannis. We love Giannis. He's our role model. He's our guy. You read this, it's like, hey, man, don't believe everything you see sometimes. To be clear, not saying Giannis is a bad dude. I'm not saying I wouldn't want Giannis on my team. I'm not saying any of this. All I'm saying is that crystal clear reputation that was shiny and squeaky clean, maybe it shouldn't have been. Did he do anything different than maybe LeBron has done on his team? Don't know. Kobe, when he was with the Lakers, throwing tantrums and yelling and screaming at everybody? Any different than Kobe? I don't know. KG, God knows if KG ever did stuff like this. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, you have so many star players and superstar players, especially in the NBA, that are running the deal, man. And these owners and these coaches are bending over backwards to try and help this cat out, to try and save him and not let him get away, especially when you know he is the greatest player in your franchise's history. I have been very, very critical of Jimmy Haslam being put into this organization. I've been very, very critical of him bringing in his right-hand guy after Fagan left. That's pointed out in there too. Pretty sure Giannis was livid about that whole situation that Fagan left. Don't blame Peter Fagan at all. So that's all part of it. I want to get your thoughts. Jimmy Haslam, there was one moment in that piece I was clapping for Jimmy Haslam. Sure was. Because tell you right now, Jimmy Haslam and I might be have more in common than I realize. Because everybody's got a breaking point. And at some point, you just got to let it out. We'll talk about that part of the article as well. Asking you if you've read about it, if you read clips from it on X, because it's everywhere, from the Jim Owczarski piece on kind of the Giannis era of the last 5 or 6 years. Who are you placing the most blame on for this whole situation blowing up in Milwaukee for the Bucks organization? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Follow us as we live stream it at WI Sports Radio on X, Instagram Live, YouTube. Like and subscribe, please. And, of course, on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Ding, 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 ding. Lewis is on hold. Here we go.
He's ready.
Get ready. I'm not yelling at back and forth.
Andy's had a few minutes now to also steam over it a
that's
little
all right.
bit too.
I'm just going to let him say what he's got to say. I'm not going to fight with him. He's going to say what he's got to say, defend his guy Giannis, do his thing. That's fine. I had a friend of mine text me. He's like, I can't believe you're leading the anti-Giannis bandwagon. I don't know if it's a anti-Giannis bandwagon, but if you read the piece by Jim Olazarski and go through it, I'm simply saying he wasn't the angel that everybody thought that he was. That's it. Like I said before, I'm not saying I wouldn't want him on my team. I'm not saying they shouldn't build a statue for him. I'm not saying they shouldn't retire his jersey. I'm not saying any of that. We're just going over it. I'm just saying a lot of stuff that was being said that he denied over and over and over again, it appears all of it is true. Or most of it is true, at least.
And it also, to also say he's going at Giannis solely, like, everybody looks bad in this piece. Like, not a single person looks like they did the right thing, said the right thing at any moment throughout the past 3 years, according to what Jim Mazarski put out there. Like, that's what we have to recognize, too, is that, yes, Giannis, a lot of this looks bad on him, but this is not all just about Giannis.
Giannis in the locker room, after Eden says that thing about, hey, man, he's got to make up his mind if he's going to sign it or not, whatever else, and him saying, let's see if he has a bleep to actually trade me. And then a couple seconds later, puts his head down and kind of very quietly goes, they're going to trade me.
Yeah. Like, dude, you knew what you were doing. You knew that you were making choices that are going to affect what you look like on the outside.
And then Luka gets traded, and that was another wake-up call. Like, oh, crap. Like, anybody can get traded in this league, and I'm not untouchable either. Anybody will get traded.
And then all of a sudden, he just immediately flipped and got scared. Like, that's crazy, man. Well, and I think it wasn't even just because Luka got traded. That's what he says, but also his name gets attached to that. And that's the first time, like, his name really gets out there that's not under his control. And that's scary to him, too, I think.
Telling you. Somebody got to that dude in, like, 2019 or whatever and flipped that dude's mentality of...
You mentioned Kevin Garnett before. They're close friends. And Kevin Garnett went through kind of a similar situation with Minnesota.
Kobe yelling and screaming and doing his thing, too, in L.A. Again, like, I promise you this, Kobe ain't running plays for Phil Jackson and telling the guys to run what he wants to run and not Phil. That was not happening under Phil Jackson. But again, it goes back to, does Giannis respect the coach? Be careful.
Well,
because now you're in South Beach with a guy that not everybody, most people in the league think is the best coach in basketball in Spoelstra. Be careful now. Don't go try to steamroll Spoelstra because you will lose to him and Pat Riley quickly.
And I don't think he will. I think Kobe was probably doing this type of stuff when Luke Walton was coaching the Lakers. Like, I think he probably did not like that type of situation was happening for him there. Like, I don't know. I think Eric Spoelstra has this kind of demeanor that's going to, tends to put people in their place a little bit. I think it's going to help do that with Giannis, and that's what Giannis wants. He talks about that, or reflecting on Mike Budenholzer, even though he was part of the reason Mike Budenholzer is not the coach of the Bucks at that point. He also looks back and says, that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody to be hard in the end of the day, which is just not what you said before, though.
If I'm Pat Riley, I run the Heat, and I've got championship rings. Dude, I want to talk to Giannis. Hey, man, I want to talk about this. Can we talk about this? Like, what did you learn? Like, I don't need to go over the whole thing with him. Like, I'm not going to go Q&A on what happened here, No. Hey, man, I read this piece. Oh, man. What did you learn? Did you learn anything? What did we take away from the last 5 or 6 years in Milwaukee? What did you take away from it? I think that's a fair question. What did you learn? I'm sure he learned a lot. I promise you, Wes Edens, he learned a bunch. John Horace got a quick education about what that all was about as a GM. Now, mind you, he hid, but he got to watch all of it. Jimmy Haslam learned anything? Probably not. But the other ones, they probably did learn. I'll tell you my favorite part of the Jimmy Haslam, my favorite Jimmy Haslam piece in all of that. All right, we got a bunch of people on hold. We're going to get to all of y'all. Just hang in there because we're going to have commercial breaks. We're on, the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So some of these breaks I got to take when I got to take them. So I apologize. You end up being on hold longer than you want to be, but we'll get to them. Text messages flying into Nikolay Law talking text line asking you, who are you placing the most blame on for this situation blowing up for the Bucks? 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, streaming live at WI Sports Radio on X, on Instagram Live, on YouTube. Like and subscribe there, and on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page. All right, here we go. Lewis, before you start, I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to fight. We're not going to fight. You say what you got to say. I want to be calm about this because I like you, Lewis. I like when you call in. So let's go.
Sparky, we've been doing this 20, 25 years, Sparky.
I know, but we yell a lot at each other over the 20 or 25 years. I don't want to yell as much with you.
We don't have to. I think it starts off as you yell and I respond to the yelling.
You're right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to keep it at a level. First off, I'm going to say shame on you. You know, because don't criticize a man and say, oh, squeaky clean image, and you guys wanted your kids to be like Giannis and this, and that squeaky image. Like, what did this guy do? This guy maybe fudged a little bit to the media, didn't give you guys what you wanted, you know, this and that.
Quit.
Quit. Did he ever quit on the court?
He did. There's 3 or 4 situations pointed out in there where he quit shooting a game. He walked off and quit in another game. Go read the piece. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, and as far as the piece, where this reporter's based here, isn't he?
Bucks beat writer. He's on the show all the time.
Right. So where is the guts of this guy if he has all of this in an article? Release it last week. Release it 2 days ago.
Yeah, fair. I got no defense for that.
Where are the guts? You know, because afterwards, I give no credence to practically any of it. You know what I'm saying? But if he had the guts to do this a week or 2 weeks ago, imagine how big of a media star he is. But no, he waits till Giannis is gone. You know, so now of course he's not going to have no sit down interviews, no access, and it's sort of like, you know, throwing dirt on everything. That's what I got to say about the piece. But and as far as Pat Connaughton, we know why he's doing that, because he was one of the casualties of these decisions.
Yes, he was.
You know that were and you know, but if you know, to answer your question, of course I'm blaming the Bucks, because you had one of the 5 best players in the world, and yes. According to the article, they didn't tell them about the Dame. One of the biggest things with the whole Buck saga was the Dame trade. They didn't run that past Giannis.
No. They didn't run past the wave Lillard and sign Miles Turner thing.
So you're telling me Giannis knew about the Dame situation?
Giannis had been begging and pleading for a better scoring guard than what he had. They did not. Again. Hold on a second. They did not tell him that it was specifically Lillard that they were going out and getting at that time, because they did not want it to. If it potentially falls through, then Holiday is mad and whatever else. So that one, to a degree, he did not know specifically, I don't think, when that deal was going down, that it was going to go down the way it was. But Lillard and Giannis, apparently leading up to this, had been talking about wanting to play together.
Well, I still go back to my main point. One of the main issues with all the Bucks fans wanting them gone was, the Dame trade, and it ruined the future of the Bucks. Yep. It turns out, look, that's a management. That's a front office. John Horst's decision. You know, and then releasing Dame the way he did and all that. Yeah, and, we wound up taking a whole gap year. You know, he didn't know about the either. So, again, that's on the Bucks. All this man ever did was, I'm going to start it, save basketball in Milwaukee.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Built an arena.
He did.
Built the Deer District.
Agreed.
All he asked was to be competitive. You know what I'm saying? Build, give me some guys I can play with. Do you think Giannis is really in a headspace where he's like, I'm going to Miami and my future winning the championship is that much better than Milwaukee? No. He's got common sense. He knows it's him, Bam, and maybe we can get some players here. Because all along, I always said Giannis was going to stay. But I believe in the end, Giannis loved Milwaukee. He didn't love the management.
Agreed.
Once Haslam took over, and I hate to go here. You know what I'm saying? But Haslam is, he's up there, 60, 65, 70-year-old white male in America with probably certain beliefs. And maybe Giannis's camp felt that. Maybe other players others. Hold on, Sparky. We're not gonna argue. We're gonna say
right.
Maybe other players, and Haslam's other sports organizations felt that. Maybe got back to the agents and maybe them players and Giannis talked. Who knows? But that's what I'm talking about with that with this article that came out. Jim, get some info on that.
All right.
Don't just throw layups.
All right, Lewis.
You know what I'm saying? And alley-oops.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Do some real reporting.
All right, Lewis, thanks for the call. I don't have an answer why this thing came out when it came out. I don't know. That's a question for Ozarski. I don't know the answer. And he was on earlier today, 9 to noon. Go back, listen to that with Jim Ozarski. If you missed that interview with Jim Ozarski with Rami and John Kuhn and Brandon Snide, go check that out, wisportsradio.com, or just search 9 to noon with Kuhn anywhere on any app that you download your favorite podcast at. Couple of things. Number one, and first and foremost, I don't necessarily believe at the end of the day that he chose Miami just for the weather. He chose Miami for Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra because he saw that as stability. He saw that as structure. He saw that as proven winning organization that neither one of those two are going anywhere. That's what he wants.
It's them and the Spurs and the NBA right now, and the Warriors. Those three
right, but even Mitch Johnson hasn't been there that long.
But I just mean that structure,
sure,
being able to consistently be at the top or near the top.
So I think that's why he wanted to go there. Why was he okay with Boston? Brad Stevens and Missoula. They've shown they've been able to do this over the last course of a few years, where every year they've got a chance to win a championship. That's what he wants. That's all that he wants at the end of the day. And I don't think he ever felt like he ever really got that here since Bud, who, again, he wanted to get fired anyhow, according to that piece. And then after that, it went completely sideways because he went with an assistant coach that had no head coaching experience, and quickly he took over the team from him and wanted nothing to do with him running the team. And it was all kind of inner fighting. Then it's Doc. And now remember, I can finally sleep tonight because we have a real NBA head coach now, right? Remember that piece with Eric Name? And then what happens? He spins away on Doc by the time the next season starts. I'm out on this, dude. This ain't going to work. So again, like my thing is, if the organization tells Giannis, no, we're not going to do what you want. We're going to do what we want to do. If they lay that hammer down the entire time, he's gone a long time ago. I don't know if we even get to the championship, because this all started before the 20 season, I think. So I don't even know if we get to that point.
And the like kind of reports or rumors, Jim Ozarski says it's a 3-year span. Shams Charania yesterday said it was a 1.5-year span.
Right.
Like it wasn't like this before the championship season. So this started happening that second year after the championship.
From the 414, I guess Lewis is new to sports. You know full well that the Bucks told the reporter to hold off releasing the article until Giannis was traded. But see, 414, that is what fans and players hate the most. If that's the case, if the Bucks told them to hold it off, so then as a reporter working for the Bucks, because again, if you're reporting a story, who cares what the team says? Release it when you want to release it, right? Unless this is a piece in conjunction with each other and we're helping each other write this piece on Giannis. Well, okay, well then that's a little bit different. And I have no idea. I have no idea. I texted with him a little bit ago before the show because I saw a little miscue that he had in the thing about a name that I thought was funny. But other than that, I really haven't talked to Jim about this at all to know why he waited as long as he did or who was all involved in that stuff.
Well, and if the Bucks are in some kind of conjunction with us, they're willing to give information on the situation. People are willing to talk now. Like, I think that's even worse than Jim Ozarski releasing this late. Like, these are guys that have been bullied by Giannis for, according to Jim Ozarski, 3 years now. And you're just going to let that happen? Like, grow up. Like, that's crazy that you're now going to start back talking behind him when you could have just stopped passing the buck back to him. You allowed him to continue to pass it back to you.
Because they were scared of him leaving.
Because you were scared. And so just putting your foot down and saying, all right, this needs to end. Because that would have been a lot easier for everybody.
They did not want him to leave. Justin in Watertown, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Justin, who are you placing the most blame on for this Bucs situation?
So ultimately, this comes down to the organization as a whole, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying they did it negatively or in the wrong way. I think Giannis is a relationships guy, and every single person, every year after the championship, someone else from that team is gone.
Yep.
So another person was gone. another person was gone, whether he player, GM, coach, ownership, someone's always changing. Giannis had no connection anymore. He's like, this is not my team. This is not what I came to want. This is not what I came to love. I have no connection here anymore. I think ultimately he got upset that he doesn't feel like it's his family anymore, which is what he's all about. And so because of that, he's like, well, why don't I just go play somewhere else then? Because this isn't a family anymore. This isn't what I came into. This is not what I love. And we won the title. Everyone got taken away from me. I'm out. And I think that's more of what it is. And I don't think it was because the Bucks were trying to do it on purpose. They were trying to build a championship around him, but they didn't really understand who they were dealing with at the same time, right?
Yes, they were trying to meet his needs of trying to win a championship. Yes.
Right. Giannis wants to win, but at the same time, if you would have kept Middleton and Holiday and all those guys around and they were a 500 team, he probably still would have been happy because that's his family. Right. And I think it would have been a totally different experience.
That's a good point, Justin. Thanks for the call. But as Connaughton said in that piece, when you put the pressure that he was putting on them about championship or bust every year, now you're reacting to every little thing that happens. Oh, that didn't work. Gone. Oh, that didn't work. We need this. Go back and get this. So you never really let it nurture and grow together. You let that first group grow together with Bud, and you let them grow all the way to a championship. And then what happened? Giannis started getting hurt in the postseason and so forth. So, damn, I got to go find somebody else that can help scoring in the playoffs if we have to miss him for a game or two. So you run and you get Damian Lillard. And then you get blessed with 2 years of injuries and issues with Damian Lillard that you obviously didn't see coming. And that never worked out. The other part in that piece is talking about how they couldn't get those two guys to hang out and do anything together. Like, Doc goes, we're going to have a remote training camp. This will force these two knuckleheads to get together, talk, and hang out. Because the first offseason, oh, I'll come to Portland. Oh, I'll come to Greece. Neither one went to the other. Never happened. Both guilty. So now Doc goes, remote training camp. This will get these two to hang out. And according to the Jim Ozarski piece, they still didn't hang out. And it still didn't work. That was Doc again trying to figure out how to get this team to bond, how to get them on the same page, how to build chemistry. Still didn't work. So again, the answer is, tired about all this, is there's definitely blame for kind of like everybody in all of this. And I still haven't told you my Jimmy Haslam favorite piece in all of this. I got one Haslam thing I'm kind of excited about. We'll get to that. Trell, Ram, you guys are still coming up. Lots of text messages coming in. We'll read as well. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. There you go. This song gets your head bobbing a little bit, I think, at the end of the day. So Wisconsin Sports Daily, Steve Sparky Fiver with you. Don't forget Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's where you want to go. Watch all your favorite sporting events, whether it be soccer, baseball, UFC fight nights, whatever. They got it on right there. 2,000 square foot center screen. Over 30 sporting events. At one time, you can watch 2 levels. You can reserve your seat ahead of time. A little food and beverage, money attached to it, but that goes towards your bill that night. So really, you're not really spending anything because you're going to spend that money anyhow when you eat food from the delicious menu at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Over 40 different beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. Check them out today. Potawatomi Sportsbook at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee. Simply go to potawatomi.com. Let's go to where are we going next? Let's go to Aaron in Appleton. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's going on, Aaron?
Hey, Sparky. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Are you listening on WNFL in Appleton? Is that where you're listening?
I'm listening to you guys on the Odyssey app.
Oh, perfect. All right.
And sometimes on YouTube too.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm putting my blame on everyone, or the front office and Giannis. I think that's where the blame should go on all sides. And then my one question is, why deal him to the Heat? Why if he's ring hunting, let's call it, why not, let's say, OKC?
I think for multiple reasons. OKC doesn't appear to want to blow up their team and go somewhere along those lines. Secondly, he had expressed towards everybody that he didn't want to go to the West. Now, there was a report later that said he would have signed an extension in Minnesota if he got to play with Anthony Edwards. But I don't think he wanted to go through the long battle of trying to climb the ladder in the Western Conference. The road to the finals is easier in the East.
The Knicks you have to contend with. They're good.
Yeah. The Knicks are going to be tough. I mean, you have the Knicks. You have Boston with Tatum and Brown. If they keep those two guys together, are the Pistons for real? Don't know. Can the Cavs keep it going? Don't know. But there's a lot more questions in the East than there is in the West.
Yep. Okay. So makes sense.
You betcha.
Thank
Thanks
you
for the call, man. Keep listening. I appreciate it, Aaron. There is Aaron in Appleton checking in with us. Again, guys, the reason I think he chose those 2 teams specifically was structure of the organization and knowing, even though they may not have the most talent, Spoelstra still had them competitive and being a potential playoff team. Boston last year, he praised Missoula, went out of his way because of what he was winning with, considering the talent that he had. Now, ignored how good Jaylen Brown is, but either way, continue to praise them for, man, look at all the stuff you got going on. You still figured out a way how to win a whole bunch of games. Again, taking a shot at Doc, taking a shot at his coaching staff of, we can't figure anything out over here, and you've got it going. So that was the other part of the reason why I think he was good going there, because he believed and trusted the head coach and the general manager, president, whatever Brad Stevens is, over there in Boston. And here, he simply doesn't believe in what they have assembled in the front office anymore. Plain and simple. That's what it came down to. I got more people wanting to dial in on this. Plus, we got to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers. We have to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers here in the 3 o'clock hour. Charlie Sounds of the Day. We're going to do that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are here, hour number 2. Hour 1 flew by. Time on the Jim Ozarski piece. If you didn't read it, go read it. I mean, there's a lot of Buck stuff on the Journal Sentinel website right now on the sports page. Ton of Buck stuff. You can learn about their different draft picks that they made last night, all kinds of different stuff. So lots of good stuff to read. Go check out JS Online for that. Remember, we do Let's Talk About the Crew. We're going to push it back a little bit. We'll get to it this hour, promise. We will get away from this Giannis stuff. Charlie Sounds of the day at 4. So you'll have a break from the Giannis stuff too. We'll talk with Down with Chillis, who does College Sports Weekly, get his thoughts on the Bucks draft picks coming up at 4:20. And then things Sparky missed coming up at 4:40. That will be everything not named Giannis. Maybe we're definitely going to talk about Sproat last night, because there's definitely a conversation to be had about that dude. And
me and Tim Allen are on the Sproat boat. We talked about it last night.
Be careful. He was on the Joey Ortiz boat too. That's sunk. So be careful.
Tim's probably been on a lot of boats that haven't sunk though. So, we'll take it.
Maybe. Okay, we're going to finish this up. We're going to do one more segment on this, and we're going to get to the Brewers. Let's go to asking you, who are you placing the most blame on in this situation after reading and hearing about the Jim Ozarski article? Trell, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Nicolay Law Talking text line. What's up, Trell?
What's going on, Sparky? It's typical media, man. This is why I don't trust a lot of media now, because it seems like a lot of things are just kind of manufactured, or either they got the ownership in their pocket, or someone's in their pocket controlling how they do stuff. This is like a hit job. But as far as who the blame is on, I never thought Giannis was like, all the way easy. I should say innocent. I'm sorry. Giannis has become a diva over the years.
Yep.
Anybody can see that. If you've watched him grow over the years, you know that, which kind of is expected in the NBA for sure. But I think the things that really drove this apart was the erosion of the people he grew to trust over the years, leaving and getting out of here. I think that was the main thing. And I also think the communication, especially between him and John Horst. John Horst got kind of defiant when someone asked him, does he need to, kind of stay up with Giannis? He said, I don't need to talk to him like that. Maybe, every other week or something. And I was like, oh my God, you don't want to, keep it. And that's something else too. He wasn't aware. He took a lot of backlash from a lot of those deals, but he wasn't like aware of those. But people were saying, well, he signed off on it and he said, go ahead. People blame him for Drew getting traded. He knew that they were interested in certain things, but he didn't know the things that who they particularly were going to trade and stuff. And people were saying like, well, he's naive or whatever. Okay, the guy, of course, he's naive to a lot of business workings and what's name. The guy grew up here. Did we forget that he had never had a smoothie before when he first moved here? Like,
that's the story.
I just think it was a lot of breakdown within the organization. Giannis carries blame, but I'll tell you this, Sparky. I'm not like a lot of these fans. I'm in love with the new rebuild the Bucks got, and I'm going to root for them and I'm going to support them.
So is everybody.
With the new rebuild.
Trell, listen, okay, people aren't going to support him with the dollars. Okay, first of all, yeah, they're going to lose a lot of fans at Pfizer, but there is a portion that are core Bucks fans that were Bucks fans before Giannis that will continue to be Bucks fans after Giannis. It's just not going to be as large of a group of people. It's going to be much smaller.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you something else, Sparky, and you ain't going to like it. I'm rooting for Giannis to win more championships. I want him to win as many championships as possible, because I don't care how many championships he wins in Miami. I'm secure enough to know that no championship in Miami will ever be as much as the one he won here in Milwaukee. And that's good enough for me.
That's
where I'm at with that.
That's a whole nother topic for another day. Trail, thanks for the call. That's later. I don't want to talk about that right now. That you just opened up a whole nother can of worms with Giannis.
Sparky going for
I'm not responding. I will simply say, write that down. We need to do that topic as far as, if he wins a title in Miami, is that a bigger deal than Milwaukee or whatever? But I'm not rooting for the dude. No. But as I said yesterday, I don't want him to get hurt. Like, I don't want him, to have ill will or nothing like that. I'm just simply saying, like, if the Heat are on, I'm not rooting for the Heat because they have Giannis. Like, I don't care that they have Giannis. I root against the Heat. I root against the Celtics. I have for years. I'll continue to. Do I root against the Heat as much as I did before when they had Jimmy Butler? No, because that was largely about Jimmy Butler. Because I can't stand Jimmy Butler. That's just me. But no, I'm not rooting for them with Giannis. Absolutely not. Ram, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Ram?
But if you want me to get you in front of somebody at a legit program, D2, I got a couple D1s. Maybe JUCO might be the route, but it depends. It depends how strong it is when you come out. But if you got a head coach reaching for you hard, go to that school.
What are you talking about, man? We're talking about Giannis. Why are you trying to recruit me for, Ram?
In some places, it may not be a place.
You might be on the phone with somebody else.
What's he doing, man? Is he like an NIL agent on the side?
He does a bunch of AAU stuff. He talks about that all the time, so he must be talking to somebody in the AAU.
Dude, he's run some game over there.
Okay, Ram. Double hustle. He's got
Dude, you
another
wait
phone
on a
off to the
hold.
side for us.
You wait on hold that long, and then you don't even there. Not even there when I get to you. Damn. Dave in Cudahy, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Dave?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I mean, we can definitely place blame at a whole multitude of sources, right? But let's be honest. The main issue is Giannis. He is an insatiable black hole that just made so many calls for himself, and not just for the team, for himself, right? He's the one that got Budenholzer fired. He's the one that at least started that conversation.
Yep.
He's the one that got Adrian Griffin fired.
First certain on that one.
He's the one that even started to get the Doc Rivers fired. He also brought in a whole litany of players, and he brought in his brothers too. If you honestly think that they were going to win a championship with those the brothers on the team too, at least in terms of like the main focus, you know that wasn't going to be the case. And let me be completely honest. I don't blame him for doing that, right? You look out for family. But the long story short is that dude lived a hedonistic lifestyle here in Milwaukee, and he could not fathom the idea of anything less than a title. He was very self-absorbed, and that all spun from the championship season.
Well, it was before the championship season. The mentality started before the championship season, and then it just grew. Listen, it's different from Giannis's perspective from this deal. If you are playing to become and considered to become one of the greatest players ever, you know how this works in sports. It's judged by rings, right? You have the Michael Jordan, never lost a championship, 6-0. Then you have LeBron James, who has lost multiple finals, and they hold that against LeBron when you have that conversation. Giannis knows Giannis has to have more than one ring to even get himself into the conversation.
Well, how is he going to win a ring down in Miami when they just gutted that entire team?
They will replace. They have all kinds of exception money. They will add players. I promise you, Dave. Thanks for the call.
They were already been talking about like Chris Middleton because he's the guy that
they'll probably try and go get the old guys.
Whisperer.
Yeah,
like Norman Powell's a free agent. He's probably gonna be much more likely to come back to Miami now with that Giannis is there. Like they'll have options. They're gonna make it work. They've made it work for the past 20 years. It feels like longer than that even. Since they drafted Dwayne Wade, like they've had this, like they got it. Like if I'm Giannis, I'm not as worried as some people are making it out.
Agree. Yeah, totally. I don't think I would be concerned either. It's Pat Riley, dude. He'll figure it out. Like
that's a good organization.
It's a
that
great
might be one
organization.
of the best organizations in sports, according to some players that have been there.
Yes.
Man. Like they have it, and that's what's I think even more frustrating. That he's going to be too good. When you talk about what Trell brought up before, like again, it just is frustrating all of this because he might be really in a better situation. That like we were talking about, he was right to act the way he does sometimes in some of these situations. We just wish he was more open about it, but also it's frustrating that he may get that situation that he wanted somewhere else.
Correct. Yeah, no doubt about that. Kyle on the dugout YouTube chat, 100% Sparky. Giannis got too big of a head and too big for Milwaukee. This was the perfect time to get rid of him and restart. That's from Kyle on the dugout YouTube chat. So I want to try my best to separate Giannis player, Giannis the dude off the court. I had no interaction with Giannis off the court. I didn't see Giannis at a grocery store I was at. I wasn't taking my kid to swimming lessons where Giannis was taking his kid to swimming lessons. I didn't see Giannis getting his car washed, or I was getting my car washed.
Was at the zoo a couple months ago.
Yep.
People were talking about that.
No, none of that. I didn't have any of those experiences. I certainly wasn't standing in line to get his freaking autograph. So I've never had that experience with Giannis as well. Never did any of that. I mean, you remember Josh and Thunder? They went to that game holding a sign of "We'll miss you, Giannis," or "We love you, Giannis."
Times.
Whatever that sign was. Right. Josh has a huge man crush on him. No. That's none of that. Have I heard stories about interactions with Giannis over the last couple of years? I have. Have they all been positive? No. Does it matter? Not really. I could care less. I mean, at the end of the day, he's not going to affect my life. Like, I got my own family to take care of. He's got his family to take care of. You do you, dude. Like, you go to sleep at night, you know how you treat people one way or the other, good or bad. Same thing here. Do I always make the right decisions and treat people the right way? No. Do I lose my cool and snap sometimes? Yes. Nobody's perfect. We all have our bad days and so forth. We talk about where's the blame. In that piece, it talks about Giannis's agents. Folks, I don't know him, but I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't trust him. I've seen interviews they've done previously when they've been talked to. All this nonsense that's been going on for the last couple of years. All of it. Don't like him, don't trust him. Giannis and Bam, same guys, same agents. So him going there is another reason why, right? They're putting this all together to get guys to go play with them, with Bam in Miami. In that piece that Jim Ozarski wrote, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, talks about Haslam finally had enough and snapped and went at one of these agents. That's when I started applauding. That's what made me happy. Because I just know for me, look, you can push on me, and normally I'm pretty good. But eventually, I'm going to have my fill, and then I'm going to snap back. And it doesn't matter how big you are or whatever. Eventually, I'm going to snap. And then, good luck to whatever happens after that. And Haslam finally had enough and snapped on the dude, according to the story. That's good. I'm fine with that. That may not have been good for the relationship, for Giannis and so forth, but at some point, you got to stand up for your organization. At some point, you got to stand up for you and be like, to hell with this. Like, you're not going to continue to bully us in and out of every one of these situations. I'm done dealing with this stuff. And I'm sure Edens was done dealing with it too. And something had to be said, and he said it. Do I agree with a lot of probably what Jimmy Haslam is going to do in the next decade? I'm willing to bet you I will probably dislike 95% of it. But we're already at 2 points in time where I've agreed with 2 things that he's done. I agreed with the trade deadline deal. Now, if you read that article, they already knew the answer was he was out of here. That was just for show, it sounds like, what Jimmy Haslam did. They already knew he wasn't coming back to Milwaukee. It wasn't about getting an answer. They knew the answer. That was a show thing, okay? So that's one. But still, optics, I'm all about it. Like, you're not going to control us. We're going to have some control here.
But again, after you let him control you, like, again, we can talk about how that's kind of a good thing, but it's all paper tiger stuff.
Correct. You're right. But I'm just saying, he didn't have to come out and say that, because what has the media been running with ever since he said it? That. Well, the Bucks owner said they have a deadline of the trade deadline, whatever else. What did that do? That put the rest of the NBA on notice of, this is getting done before the draft. Y'all better come if you want him, and we're moving him. We're not playing around anymore.
Did
we're
it really
moving him.
create any more buzz from these teams? Like, I don't think they ended up with any extra offers than what they were really truly getting.
They got more. They got more out of Miami for certain.
I think so, but
yes,
Casper's Jonas that they really like. That they brought.
No, and I don't think pick 13 was involved either at that point. But the other part of this is that goes along with this is you got Boston then involved at the end. And Boston got in because Boston wanted to make sure you were serious this time. Because at the deadline, everybody thought you were serious, and then you bailed. And as was talked about, you cry wolf again. Nobody's coming to help you out next time. Next time, you're going to let him walk in free agency. Nobody's going to help you.
But it also seemed like they just got Boston into it. We're excited that Boston was into it to push Miami.
For
too.
sure.
Like that Miami deal was it from the trade deadline, too. Like that was what they wanted the whole time, was to get him to Miami.
And that's one thing that Giannis wanted the whole time, or his agents wanted the whole time.
The way the Bucks acted throughout all this, I wouldn't be surprised if they were said, "Yes, sir, let's get you to Miami." Like that's kind of what this all seems like.
That's a good question that can be asked to those guys. Johnny, north side of Milwaukee, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily.
Hey, first.
What's up, Johnny?
To answer this question, who's at fault, or who's to blame, or however you want to phrase that, I'm going to have to say almost certainly 100% Giannis. But I need to say this with an asterisk next to it. He's not wrong for any of the things, because some of the things that happened, it just didn't pan out. The Dame Lillard thing didn't pan out. Try to make trades. We feel like we're a smidgen above the hump to get over the hump, and so we did this, and that didn't pan out. Get rid of Chris. A lot of things didn't pan out, but I blame Giannis because of two main things. One, everything that was done, every single thing that was done with this team was done for you. There was nothing done that you didn't do. You wasn't going to put a player with Giannis that you didn't think that game style didn't somehow mesh with Giannis' game style. So all the things that happened in the way the roster turned out and the money allowed that we have left and all those things, that's because of you and your very, very dimensional play style. As dominant as it is, very dimensional. You only can play with certain type of players. They put those players around. They did it, So front office did their end. And I understand bumping heads. I don't know. We don't see it at the conference meeting because what's said and what was said personally to them. Don't know that part. So maybe that added some extra fire to the flame. But the team was built for you. This stadium, this was all for Giannis. So the team did their part on that part. The second part that I say is mainly Giannis is because we raised you, man. This city, this town, you, we raised you. You are Milwaukee. You were Milwaukee. You. But like I said, I'll put an asterisk next to it because I understand. You get a sweet. You ever gave a baby that never had fruit, and they'll never don't want anything else. They don't want any of the vegetables anymore. They want the good stuff. Give me the fruit. That was the championship. You got a taste of that, and you want that every year. But unfortunately, the way the team was built, it just wasn't held that way anytime soon. So I don't blame it anymore. I don't even harness any hard feelings as I it's like ripping it's over with. The stretch part is over with. Giannis is gone. We can move on. I do like the moves that the Bucks made. All of it. It's time to make that pivot for the future now. Go ahead and get rid of Miles Turner. I don't really want to keep Hero either. He can go, and Kuzma can go. And we go totally young. And I just had this argument with my supervisor today. I said, the Bucks with that squad, it's not out the realm of possibility that we fighting in for a play-in spot. It's just not. Like, that's the way the East is built. But one of my problems with Giannis, where you went, you're not going to win a championship there. In the end of everything, that'll be Milwaukee's fault. They're going to have to rebuild and put people in place, and everybody's got to change their game. Everybody has to change their game, and it'll be basically Milwaukee South. You're going to have to put some people around, and it'll break down to are they hitting their shots or not, and is Giannis healthy or not, and that's what it'll break down to. It'll be Milwaukee South. Now they're going to be competitive and got you that whole 9 yards, but in a 7-game series, that team right there, as it sits, right now you're going to be going to get a whole bunch of loose leaf people. You'll sign Norman Powell or whatever. Maybe you can get a Mitchell Robinson or something like that, and really add some girth and But for the most part, it will be the same thing because Giannis' game is so limited as far as what he's able to do that it'll be built the same way. So I do, I see both sides of it, but my only issue is like Giannis, hey, this team was built for you. We couldn't go do this. We can't do that. That's what happens when you have a superstar that, you can't afford a lot of other things. And we tried. The Dame Lillard thing showed me that the front office gave it a big swing. That was a big swing right there.
Sure did.
That was a humongous swing right there. So the front office did what they could. You know, in the end, all this loyalty, I'm from Greece, all I love, and you know, I know that in the end that didn't hold the water that we thought it would hold, because we thought you would stay forever. Or, you know, but you're not wrong for leaving that, you know, so I don't want to make it seem like,
I got you. Johnny, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. We got to roll. We got to get to some other people as well. It may end up as Milwaukee South. It could eventually at some point. If he signs a long-term deal, if he signs an extension, then it very well could, because at some point you are going to break down because you're going to get older. Your body's going to take a toll and you're not going to be as good. And you're going to have a gigantic $70+ million a year salary attached to you when you get to that point, if it is a long-term deal. And that's the one thing that we're still waiting to have to see as far as how physically he handles this going forward. Because that's the one thing we do not know of how this is going to be. Will he continue to get hurt? And what if he doesn't get hurt? What if all of a sudden he's healthy every postseason in Miami after being hurt for the last several postseasons? Yes.
So much
Bucks fans are not going to be happy about that. Man, Ram already called in.
He said he's back. He's ready to go. He said he apologizes for being on the phone with somebody else before. Come on, give him a chance.
I'll bring Ram on, but only if you can get my kid a D1 scholarship. He's 10, so you figure this out, Ram. I'll put you back on the air. What's up, Ram?
Hey, what's going on? Apologize, Sparky.
Man, you were spending some good game, Ram. I mean, we had you up for a little while listening to you throw your game about getting guys in D3, D2, D1, all that stuff. It was good game, Ram. You were sounding good.
I didn't even know that was happening.
Man, you sounded like you were you sounded like an NIL agent on the phone right there. That was good stuff.
Oh, wow, they got to be today for today. I'm going to say this real quick. We're going to go John Horst. To me, when the Bucks lost to Toronto, he should have been gone. Now, when you talk about Miami, you talk about a basketball culture. Riley's been down there since '96, so they got a system, and their G League team can beat some of the NBA teams. That's and when you think about those years that they went to the finals and lost, they got 5 players that are impact players on other teams that weren't even drafted. So, and then you talking about you got Bob McAdoo on the bench. So you got an oracle of knowledge.
Yes.
Which I thought that was going to happen here, but it didn't. And I just don't think Larry Drew Sr. was given a proper amount of time to groom that group of players here, because I think that team could have been a championship team that was he only had a year, and then, you know, new owner came in.
I mean, you really think Larry Drew turns Giannis into Giannis? I have my doubts.
I think so. I believe in old school coaches. I just don't believe in you letting a guy run up and down the court and play bully ball, and that's why Giannis is hurt. So, you know, his style of play, I think that's one reason why he injury is.
But his style of play made him into an MVP.
Yeah, but body now, though.
Sure. Yes, that comes with it. You're right. Yeah.
At this point in his career, at some point, he's going to have to play in the half court and play with his back to the basket. Now, will that happen down in Miami? I know for a fact he's not going down there controlling nothing. Because you remember when LeBron James made inference to Eric Spoelstra about firing him, and next thing you know, Pat Riley had him up out of there. So that's not happening down there. Not at all.
No, they're not going to allow it to happen.
I kind of disagree with what he said. Their roster is tight. I mean, they got David Mitchell. They got Norman Powell. Come on now. They got Nikola Jokic. So I don't know what this guy was talking about, but Sparky, once again, I'm an older guy.
David Mitchell.
You got a younger guy who probably more of a Packer fan than a basketball fan. So, I mean, everybody got their own opinion.
Yeah, Davion Mitchell is not that guy. I mean, he's a free agent at the end of this year. They were trying to stick the Bucks with Davion Mitchell, according to the report, and the Bucks didn't want another expiring deal and got Casper the Ghost instead.
Well, I mean, if you got an expiring contract, that means you got to sign and pay somebody. Are they going to pay Rollins? They overpaid Middleton.
No. No, they're going to have 2 expiring contracts. Hopefully they trade Hero as one of them. And then then you have Jaquez. He's an expiring contract as well.
So you're not high on Hero at all?
No, man. I see.
Wow.
But listen to me. They need draft picks, and they don't have a draft pick next year. Tyler Hero should I hope, be able to get you a first-round pick next year. That's what I want to get out of Tyler. He's an expiring deal. He's gone after this year. I'm not giving him. He's going to make as much as Reeves probably that just signed for. Reeves is making between like $40 and $50 million a year on this new deal he just signed. There's no chance I'm paying Tyler Hero that much money, Ram. Thanks for the call. Zero chance. I don't care what state he's from.
The Sioux Falls Skyforce, the Miami G League team, with 18-18 last season. Jameer Young, Josh Christopher, Trevor Keels. Those are their point leaders from last season.
They're not beating an NBA team. No,
when he said that, I had to look up.
I was shaking my head when he said it. I was like, come on, man. No. Hey, the Minions really wanted to impress their new big boss, Wendy, so they cooked up some fun chaos for the fans. Say hello to the Minions and Monsters meal, featuring one of 4 unique collectibles. New Banana Frosty Swirl, your choice of a big bacon classic or spicy chicken sandwich, plus a small fry. It's time to go bananas over this exclusive Wendy's experience. Limited time only. Coming up next, let's talk about the crew. We have to. Brandon Sprout is the topic du jour ahead. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Bowers, a high chopper. It's a fair ball headed towards the corner. Vaughn is on the move. Vaughn will be sent around third. The ball gets away. Bowers heads for third base. The Brewers take a 1-0 lead on the triple by Jake Bowers.
I'll be honest, I didn't want to play that. I was looking for a Brandon Sproat strikeout, like maybe his 10th strikeout or something, but I couldn't find a highlight in our sound folder. So I'm sure it's there. I just can't find it. But
why don't you want to play Jake Bowers highlights, though, too?
Because we're going to talk about Brandon Sprout, because normally at 3 o'clock, we do this segment and we moved it back. So here we go.
It's time to talk about the Crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, so I want to talk about Brandon Sproat because, again, I want to just be straight about this, okay? Nobody has been more under fire from Pat Murphy this year than this dude. For sure. Than this dude. And we brought this up yesterday to Chris Hook, the Brewers pitching coach, who joined us on Wisconsin Sports Daily yesterday. If you missed it, go back, listen to it, wisportsradio.com. Or wherever you download your favorite podcast, just search Wisconsin Sports Daily or Best Brewers Coverage. That will also get you all the different Brewers interviews we do here on the station with, players, reporters, coaches, whatever the case may be. You listen to all from all the different shows on that one podcast platform. So he's been under fire. And I had brought up to Chris Hook, Vinny Rotino said about he's got elite stuff. If he ever puts it all together type deal, and brought up hey man, what's he got to do to put it all together? And Chris Hook rightfully pointed out, he's like, Sparky, of everybody in this rotation, he has the least amount of experience. He had 2 starts in the big leagues prior to the year starting. We've got to give him some time. There has to be more. And rightfully so, as he pointed out, Pat Murphy needs to tell him, hey man, this isn't the minor leagues. This is the big leagues. You got to treat this like the big leagues, and installing that mentality as far as how you win, how you compete at this level, right? That's what it was all about for him. So last night, he goes out there. If we're being honest, I really wasn't thinking about that Brewer game last night. My head was really wrapped around those Bucks picks at 10 and 13. Because for the future of this organization, every damn pick means something right now. More so than it did before. Before, I was like, I don't care who they take. They're not going to play anyhow. So it doesn't really matter to me. But now, they all matter. So that's where my head was on this draft. Kind of following along with the draft. I was at my kid's baseball game. So I'm following along on my phone, checking in on the Brewers. And to be honest, I wasn't checking in on the Brewers the first 2 innings. And Tommy and I were texting about something. He's like, Brandon is shoving, or Sproat is shoving right now. I'm hip enough to learn from Tommy that shoving means they're doing something well.
Hip enough to learn from him, or you knew it before him? You're not hip if you have to learn it from him in that moment.
Oh, I learned it from him last year, I think.
Oh, okay. That's still, you're not hip then.
I didn't say I was. When did I ever say I'm hip?
You just said you're hip enough.
That's
right,
you're not hip enough.
He
taught me last year what shoving was. Yeah. So anyways, shut up. So anyways, so I was like, oh, shoving. Okay, he must be doing something good. So then I was like, 2 scoreless innings, got some strikeouts. Okay. So then I kept that up on my phone and was kind of just checking in on it every half of inning of our baseball game to see what's going on. And I'm like, got no hits through 3. I was like, okay. But I'm also smart enough to know the last time this happened, he gave up a granny, and then Murphy eviscerated him in the post game. So I was like, well, I'm not going to get my hopes up yet. It's 1 time through. Then it's a no-no through 4. Then it's a no-no through 5. He's at 10 strikeouts. I'm looking at his pitching numbers. He's 70-some pitches. I was like, well, this is not going to be a complete game no-hitter. We know this much. But maybe, just maybe, he can get through 6. Sure enough, got through 6. 1 hit, 10 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts.
1 pitch away from having the same exact stat line as Brandon Woodruff the night before.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. Faced 19 batters. So 1 over the minimum of what he would have faced had he not given up that 1 hit. But again, that's a hell of a performance. And Murphy, to his credit, said, it's the best performance he's had all year. Things were working and da-da-da-da-da. Good job, Pat Murphy. This is the question. I'm curious. What more does Brandon Sproat need to do to get Murphy, do you think, to get off his back a little bit, to have more confidence in him at the end of the day? What does you think Sprout has to do to earn that trust from Pat Murphy, that confidence from Pat Murphy? Like, seemingly he shows every other person in that pitching rotation, bullpen, and everything else. Like, literally, he is the dude he goes after. And the last dude he went after was who, Charlie?
Tobias Myers.
Where's he?
New York, I believe.
Gone.
Yeah.
And Tobias Myers had more experience than Brandon Sproat did. That much we know. And he was super critical of him. And eventually, he was gone. I don't want Brandon Sproat to be gone. I want Brandon Sproat to stay. I want to see what this looks like. Last night showed he can bring it. 99, doing his thing. There's times he'll throw over 100 in different games this year where you'll see him get to that number. So he's got the stuff. I mean, you start talking about who's the third. Well, it's not going to be Brandon Sproat this year. Could it be Brandon Sproat in next year, 2 years? Maybe. It's got the stuff to potentially get there at some point if they allow him to work through this and not ruin his confidence, right? They've got to allow him to work through it. You want to talk about that Freddie Peralta deal looking crazy? Let Brandon Sproat go be that third best pitcher in this rotation all year next year behind Harrison and Mizorowski. People are going to lose their minds because that means they got Harrison for Caleb Durbin, the number 2 guy in the rotation, and then they get Sproat for that Peralta deal. Peralta ain't going to be in New York next year. And Sproat for that.
Be there in a month.
Right. And Sproat for that dude. My goodness. Ain't nobody going to pick up the phone from Matt Arnold if we get to that point. But what do you think it'll take? Nikolai Lautak at text line 414-677-1250. If you look at Sproat's last few games, Guardians game, again, where he was money for 3 innings, 3 2/3, 2 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 6 strikeouts, couple of walks, 1 home run. The Athletics game, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, home run, a walk. That was Vegas. Then the Rockies game before that, talking about 2 horrible destinations at the pitch, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, all earned, a homer, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Game before that, 4 1/3 at the Astros, 6 hits, 5 runs, all earned, another home run. Game before that, 4 innings against the Dodgers, 4 hits, 3 runs, no homers. Game before that, he gave up a home run and 3 runs at the Cubs. Game before that, 3 runs and a homer against the Padres. And one thing is very clear. He likes to give up the long ball and tends to give up the long ball. Before it was, man, quit walking all these guys. And that, to the most part, he has walked like 2 to 3 guys pretty much every outing going through. Last night, clean, no walks. It's got to be limiting the long ball is 1. And then 2, keep it to 1 or 2 walks a game, and I think you're okay.
I also hear that whole kind of list of games is game long there. The Astros one was the only one where I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a really bad game.
It was.
The rest of them don't sound that bad. Even when he's giving up 3 runs, you're like, it's because he gave up that home run. Like you're saying, that's the reason. And then if he can figure that out, what I really like about Brandon Sproat so far through the beginning of this season is that he just goes out there and it feels like he knows what he wants to do and that he has a really cool demeanor throughout a majority of these games and that he's not going to overreact to a situation. But I also think both those things can work negatively for him if he does get into trouble, because I think he's also gotten into situations where he probably needs to be a little bit more juiced up so far, and he hasn't been able to do that. And then it kind of gets on him. He just kind of keeps doing what he's going to do. And because of that, I think Pat Murphy has kind of identified this coaching style as the way that he wants to push and wants to coach a Brandon Sproat. I think he saw that in Tobias Myers. Tobias Myers was the opposite. He would get over emotional in moments where he did not need to be over emotional, and it just didn't work out for him. I think Pat Murphy is trying to bring some of that emotion to a Brandon Sproat and get him angry in moments where he maybe should be angry that there's 3 guys on base instead of just being the normal Brandon Sproat.
Now, time for the proper respect to be paid to Brandon Sproat.
Check swing. Yes, he did. That's 10 Ks for Brandon Sproat. Blake Dunn went too far. Just keeps adding to that career high to Sproat. Brandon Sproat with 6 scoreless innings, no walks, and 10 strikeouts. Second straight appearance for Brewers starter with that exact line. 6 innings, 1 hit, no walks, 10 Ks.
That's beautiful. I told you. I knew it was in there. I just didn't see it the first time. There is highlight courtesy of Brewers TV. They're getting themselves on a little bit of a run here with pitching. Cardinals lost last night, so that game was 0-0. They gave up, 3 or 4 in the top of the 9th to the D-backs, and then they rallied. I think they up 4. They rallied back for 3 in the bottom of the 9th, and then just came up short against the D-backs.
That team is so weird, and they kind of remind me of the Brewers a little bit, where they just have moments where, like, so far this season, their bats were what started the season, and now over the past couple of months, it feels like their pitching has just come out of nowhere and been one of the best starting rotations, first of all, in baseball, with Valente, and Justin May has come out and been awesome, and their bats have gone kind of quiet since then. It's just crazy that they just find ways to win games, or at least get close to it still.
The other team we like to talk about on this show is the Cubs, and Cabrera helped off. I don't think he's going to be pitching for a while. He's going back to the IL. Nobody has really talked about this. I mean, outside of one article that we saw, they may sell. They may not be buying Freddie Peralta at the deadline. They may be selling at the deadline. They can't. I mean, they've got so many guys hurt in that pitching staff. I don't know how much longer you can go. Steele had a setback. Now they lose Cabrera. Again, this is the second time now here in the last month. They lose Cabrera. I don't know how much more you can go through, because if they're 12 games back, let's say 13 games back by August 3rd, they have to sell.
I also think they've spent so much money on this roster that
does not matter.
Like, they're going to feel like they need to, if they're going to sell some of these players that are free agents, that they have to go into the offseason knowing that they're going to be able to sign other guys to replace those guys. Like, they're not going to want to reset for very long, because they've spent so much money on guys that are going to have to stick around for a while now.
Correct. Right.
So they're going to have to find ways. And also, again, they're still way above 500. Like, that's still a good baseball team that if the Cardinals stumble, if any of these other teams stumble, like happens every season after the All-Star break, they could
sneak in as a wild card or something like that. Yeah, that is another way to look at it. Hey, Habish and Rotier, baby. We have Plead the Fifth coming up on Friday at 4:20. We do it each and every Friday. Don't forget, too, tomorrow and Friday, this show out at Summerfest, right there by the Hole-in-One Golf Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. 3 golf balls for $10. First one to hit a hole-in-one at Summerfest. Nobody has told me that anybody's done it yet, so I don't know. But providing that has not happened, first one to do it gets $5,000. We'll have some free T-shirts to give away while supplies last as well, both days. So come on down, come find me, and let's chat in commercial breaks, talk about Giannis, the Bucks, the Brewers, whatever you may want to discuss. So come find us again tomorrow, 2 to 5 at Summerfest. But yeah, Habish and Rotier, these dudes, they win. They win a lot. That's how you get the national reputation that they have. Hometown servers, that means they are approachable. They're here for you. They're not going to look through you like you're a number. Yeah, sure, whatever. And then you bring it, yeah, next day. And everybody's walking on, did they listen to anything I said? Because I don't feel like they really are all into this for me. They feel like I'm just, oh, yeah, sure, we'll see what we can do. Have a nice day. You don't want that. I don't want that. Right? You want people that are going to listen, people that are going to fight for you, people are going to try and do best by you. That's why you go to these people. You don't get that everywhere you go. 13 locations around the state. Been doing it since 1930. That's a long, long, long time, right? Put your faith, put your trust in those guys. If you ever are in a car accident and are hurt and are in the hospital or have the doctor bills piling up because you were hurt in the car accident, cars totaled, all that stuff, Habish.com. Again, Habish.com. Habish and Rotier, national reputation, hometown service. Charlie's Sounds of the Day comes up at 4 o'clock. Looking forward to that. Down with Chill, Scott Sports Weekly. We'll talk about the Bucks draft picks from last night. Braden Burries, Nate Amon. Look to get his thoughts on both of those guys. And then we get to thank Sparky and Mez. We really haven't delved into either one of those guys, Mia and Charlie, as far as how the draft board played out. Options maybe they could have had that they didn't take. Wrapping up talking about the Brewers and Brandon Sproat. Tommy and Stalis uses the Nicolay Law Talking text line. I think that Murph knows that is how to motivate Sproat. At least half of his job is being able to get inside those guys' heads. I think he does it masterfully. He knows what guys to coddle and what guys to razz and what different players react to. That is Tommy and Stalis. That is absolutely a major portion of his job. And if you go back to the Jim Ozarski article, Doc Rivers failed at that part of it as far as working with these players, getting in their heads to get the right reactions. And instead, it was one misstep after another. And then he allowed Darvin Ham to go talk to these dudes after a game. And Darvin Ham finished blowing up the locker room with Darvin Ham's big tirade. Apparently that happened in the locker room after that game. That is...
Which didn't even make an impression on anybody since Kyle Kuzma told everybody not to listen.
So again, that is the biggest part of it. Why was Phil Jackson good? Because he was a master of motivation. That's why Bill Parcells was good. That's why Pat Riley was good. Popovich, like all of these guys, sure, they may know, the X's and O's of football or drawing up a basketball play or whatever. But what makes the great managers, coaches, what they are is knowing how to work with each individual player and get the most out of them. You can't treat everybody the same because not everybody's going to react the same way. I'm able to yell and scream at Charlie and go nuts. And he's like, yeah, whatever, Sparky, and just moves on. I yell and scream at somebody else the same way. They may go to HR and I get fired, right? I mean, you just got to know who you're dealing with at the end of the day. It's happened to me multiple times over my career. Coming up next, Charlie Sounds of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Thanks for listening here on a Wednesday.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
How you doing? Middle of the work week. Couple days left for you. And then you're back to the weekend again. Don't look now. July 1st is a week from today, folks. July 1st is a week from today. Literally, my kids go back to school at the end of August. So literally, next Wednesday, I can be like, back to school next month.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed summer vacation.
Be fun. Aren't you excited for that?
That's just crazy, man. That's crazy.
And you both get little vacations next week too at some point each. That's gonna be nice.
Yep. Yeah, we won't see each other after Friday
next week. Yeah.
No, because I'm gone next week, Monday through Thursday for a baseball tournament down in Illinois. Charlie is gone Thursday through Sunday, correct? Because he has something going on. What do you have?
Going camping. I'm going up north by Lake Superior. We're driving 5.5 hours to this campsite we got. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
With a tent?
Yeah.
No.
Of course, I knew you weren't a camping guy.
I've done camping. I was a Cub Scout. We used to camp all the time. I have not camped with any of the kids the entire time at any point. We don't even own a tent to go camping.
Well, Beth's family.
Nor have any of the kids asked to go camping. So
she's got a couple Boy Scout brothers. Her dad's a Boy Scout leader.
So you don't have to do anything.
They got plenty of the stuff.
They're going to do everything.
She's been camping all the time.
You're going to show up, drink, eat what they make.
No, it's just me and her. So she's doing she's going to be leading the charge for me because I don't really know what I'm doing.
No. Tommy has to go with the shoot video. You need somebody to shoot video. Because I got a GoPro. Oh, that's perfect. I can wear my GoPro. Yes.
Yeah.
This sounds like this is going to be story time when Charlie comes back on the 6th. Cannot wait. So anyways, so I go back next Thursday, and then we do the show on Friday from Summerfest. Next Thursday at Summerfest, Mitch Thunder Nellis will be doing the show because it's an afternoon game, so it'll be a couple hours, and then Tim and Tommy will be on. Speaking of Summerfest, there tomorrow and Friday from 2 until 5, right there by the Hole in One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. 3 golf balls for $10. Got a chance to win a whole bunch of money. Make sure to go over there and check that one out when you are there. Normally we do this at 3:40. We moved it around today, so let's get to it.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Mr. Charlie, where to first before we get to Don Wojczulis of College Sports Weekly in the next segment, talk about the Bucks draft picks.
Well, since you brought him up at the end of Let's Talk About the Crew, let's talk about the Cubs a little bit. And last night, some really weird baseball happened that Craig Counsell, your favorite, the trainer.
Because your baseball player's an idiot. But either way, go ahead.
It was a rule that nobody really understood, including the Mets broadcast, which this is from, not the Cubs broadcast.
It's running again, and the pitch is up and in for ball 4, and the Cubs have 2 men on.
Okay, he's off the bag there.
Doesn't matter if he's tagged.
I understand. Yes,
it was ball 4. He's entitled to the base.
The base is his.
Oh. No. Now, if he hits the base and he comes off it,
yes,
is he still entitled to it?
Nope.
Or is that?
I guess they could call it
by the letter of the law. I guess you could say once he touches it and has possession of the base, if he comes off the base after that, is he liable to be tagged out?
Yes.
I guess that's got to be the play.
After the review, the runner initially contacts second base, loses possession of the base, and is tagged while losing possession. Therefore, the runner is out. The call is overturned. Chicago loses their challenge.
I can't even believe that that's a rule.
I can counsel. I have never seen that.
If I'm Craig Counsell, I'm getting myself thrown out of this game because I can't believe that that's actually a rule. I've never seen that in a major league game ever.
And Counsell has not either. It's just silliness. That is even a rule. Should throw himself out. Major League Baseball should throw themselves out over that. That's silly.
And those are the Mets announcers on TV. Listen here. First of all, Mendoza, is he still the manager in New York? They didn't fire him yet, did they?
They have not yet. No.
They should. But
David
Anyways,
Stearns just came out in a press conference this morning. Was like, I believe in this team to figure it out. And stuff.
Right.
He's so dumb.
Yeah, he's just got to stay with it. But this is the thing with Mendoza. Dude, give him a raise. Your players knew that rule and did that, or would they just get lucky? Because it was ball 4. So
you should say that, they knew that. I doubt they knew that. I think there was just kind of a quick situation.
So you just put the tag on and see what happens?
Like the catcher was just kind of reacting because that's what he's supposed to do when a guy starts stealing a base. Yeah. And it just worked out for them.
Beautiful. So good. And of course, who does it happen to? The guy who has more dumb stuff happen to him than anybody in baseball.
Again, he's
Armstrong.
The weirdest player I think I've ever watched play baseball because he's also right now probably the best hitter in baseball currently too. And
he's hot.
He does these stupid things too. That's just crazy.
Yep. You're right about that. It is crazy. All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to stick with some weird baseball stuff, but we're going to go to the other New York team. This is Jazz Chisholm playing with a sucker in his mouth and manager Aaron
It was a
Boone
blow pop.
On Talking
It was a
Yanks.
blow pop. Those are good suckers. We like those. Those are good.
This is manager Aaron Boone. Afterwards, he also reacts to this.
So he's got a Tootsie Pop in his mouth. No, that's a blow pop.
Thank you.
Like that they clarified.
Yes. Blow pops are awesome. Come on.
Little UL Washington. Remember, he had the toothpick.
You brought up a Tootsie Roll. I
got it from the dugout. It's a Tootsie Pop.
Yeah.
Love a Tootsie Pop. Dangerous, though, to be playing with that in your mouth.
Oh, yeah, that pisses me off.
Okay.
I didn't know about it until after the game. So he and I talked about that. That won't be going on.
Okay. So yeah, we both got uncles coming out of the woodwork that just don't like that.
Second time, there was another time.
Yeah, in Boston when he was freezing cold, he took an at bat with lollipop in his mouth in Boston.
Yeah, that's not on that.
Why do I hear like 2 audio clips
Because
going?
they were playing the clip underneath him when he was responding of the play. So I played it first so you could hear it, and then they played it underneath him.
So listen, you don't want your players to have them? Then don't have them in the dugout. Don't have them in the clubhouse. Like if they're right there, you heard the announcers. Yeah, I got one from the dugout earlier. Okay, well, oh my God, I don't want. Well, then don't have them there for them. Let me help. These are professional athletes. God bless all of them. They've done a sport their whole life. They're grown children. If you don't want them to have something, don't put it in front of them. Because if it's in front of them, they're going to be like, oh, they must be okay with this. Boop, grab it.
You can't blame them then. If he's bringing it out on the field himself, he's got a bag in his locker that he brought, then yeah, you could be mad at him.
But I mean, in fairness, he's not playing like tackle football or hockey or something like that. He picks up a ball and throws it.
Is this really that different from having gum in your mouth playing? Like every other player does, or seeds or dip.
Yeah,
or
I mean, again, depending on what position you play, right? So, like, if you're an infielder, it's a double play ball. You get taken out, you go up in the air, and you come down, and right, and you chokes you out on the field. That could be a danger problem.
Yeah, it could be, but also then that's Jazz Chisholm who decided to chew on a sucker
maybe,
while he's
but you're just trying to avoid it. I didn't have as big of a problem with it as they did, obviously, because it makes them look lazy or whatever your thing is going to be. But again, if y'all don't want them to have it, don't put it in front of them. All right, go ahead.
That's fair. Next up, we are going to hear from Mike Florio. He was on the Dan Patrick Show. And since we have Don Wojczulis coming up next, let's talk about a little college football where Mike Florio was discussing Brendan Sorsby in the NFL deciding to forego a supplemental draft.
They had 2 prior cases, 2 guys currently on NFL rosters who had similar situations to Sorsby and were never punished by the league. Kayshon Boutte, the Patriots receiver, who actually bet on LSU games he played in, never punished by the league. They didn't even know about it when he was drafted. And Hunter Deckers, who re-signed with the Saints this week. He had no suspension, no punishment. He did the same thing Sorsby did. So instead of suspending him and opening yourself up to the argument that, wait a minute, you didn't do anything to Boutte or Deckers, let's just slam the door in his face. Let's just say, we don't feel like having a supplemental draft this year. We'll see you in April, which is basically a 1-year suspension.
So, couple things. Number one, they're going to lose this lawsuit because Kessler, his lawyer, who I told you before is one of the best ever, is going to win. the NFL is going to lose this, or they're going to settle out of court. But either way, Sorsby is going to make a bunch of money. I promise you. And Kessler's going to make a bunch of money on the charges.
I just don't understand that, though.
There's no way the NFL wins this.
Like,
No
why
chance.
why does the NFL have to let him play? Like, he missed the initial draft because he wanted to play college football. It's their decision to say, hey, we can have a supplemental draft or not. Like, it's not his decision. This is the same thing. Like, why can't the NCAA just say, no, we're ignoring this because this is our league, our rules, that has nothing to do with the courts? Like,
the easier thing to do for the NFL is to announce there will no longer be a supplemental draft going forward. We're just done with it. We've done it for years from time to time, depending on situations. We are no longer having a supplemental draft. It's done. Players Association will complain, whatever, but we're done. We don't want to go through this anymore. We don't want to have these issues because, again, are you telling me this is going to be the last guy that gambles, that gets caught, that wants to come into the supplemental draft? It's not going to be.
It's probably going to get worse.
And if they lose this case, and they're going to lose this case, if they lose this case, then they're going to have to do something one way or the other. So this guy doesn't have to wait till April. The problem is it's the court system. So how long is it going to take before they actually, get to that point of having the case heard and everything else? Maybe it gets expedited because it's the National Football League involved. But if Kessler decides he's going to sue, and it sounds like he's going to, the lawyer for Sorsby, if this thing gets settled in August, they get forced to do a supplemental draft at the end of August before the season starts to see who he's going to walk into a roster
or do
of.
they take it to another court that is going to rule in their
then you appeal, and it goes on forever, and he still ends up in the draft.
This has no legal precedent behind it and legal basis.
But like as Florio pointed out, you got two other college gamblers that are sitting on NFL rosters.
The NFL can say, screw you, it's our rules. We can decide what we want to do. Like, that's how this should end. Like, it's our rules, it's our league. Like, this has nothing to do with the legal court system. That's crazy.
NCAA have rules. They've lost numerous times in
because
court.
They're too afraid to say no, and that we're going to fight this because we don't want. They just say,
but they have said no, and they've lost in a court of law.
They want to sweep it all under the rug. That's why they let Texas Tech, like this, the way that they went about it this past couple of times, they let the Big 12 kind of take the lead because I think the proximity of the Big 12 to Texas Tech in this situation was going to be a stronger case than maybe the NCAA would in the court, and that's how this ended up. The injunction that they put in on the injunction that Brendan Sorsby got, like, it's all back and forth, but it ended there because they knew they could get behind it. Like, they started finding ways that they could get around and say, no, this is our league. We can do what we want. The NFL, like, they're big enough that I think they can just go without doing that and say, no, this is our league. We can do what we want. These are our rules. That has nothing to do with the American court system. Get out of our face, dude. Go play Canadian football.
I'm going to see how this goes. I think they're going to lose, and then they're going to get forced into doing a supplemental draft. The one thing that you hope for is you can drag this out long enough to where you get to February or March, and it's like, well, now you can just be in the normal draft in April, which is what was going to happen anyhow. The problem is, and again, the NFL has a ton of money, is you're going to waste all these lawyer fees going in and out of courts time and time again over the next 6 months just to find out he's going into the normal draft anyhow. And like Florio says, he essentially is suspended for a year by the league for all of this. And then he gets into the league. Now, this is going to be the other thing about this. If they delay all of this in and out of the courts, boom, now you're in the draft in April. And then in September, they go, and you're being suspended for 6 games for whatever. Then it's going to be a whole nother big thing that comes after that.
Too bad. Again, that's their league, their rules. What they really should do, and I think this would be a huge gamble by the NFL, is they should do a quick flip and say, we're denouncing these gambling sites. We're gonna try to make this a fair league. I know they're not, because there's too much money behind it.
They're not losing all that money. No
but
chance.
At the same time, this would avoid any of these future situations. This would stop the ruling, because you could say, oh, like, this is just part of our league. We're against this. Like, you have
and the
basis
prediction
to stop him
sites
from doing this.
The prediction sites is gonna be the other one.
You can take a stand as a league, and you can make a big difference in the entire world. But yeah, you lose a little bit of money.
Let's talk about Wendy's, baby. Listen up. Late night cravings. Eat great, even late, because Wendy's is now open till midnight or later. You know, you want that irresistible, juicy Baconator loaded with 6 strips of oven-cooked bacon. Get yourself to Wendy's tonight before those midnight cravings become a full-blown hungry nightmare. Hours may vary by location. I'm curious. We should ask Don Wojczulis this, too, when he comes on, because he's already sitting over there listening and waiting. When is the last time you eat at night? Normally. Like, when's the last time you eat something before you go to bed?
Like 9:30 is probably the latest.
And then you go to bed at what?
Like 10:30.
So real close.
About like 30 minutes before bed. Yeah.
Curious. Okay, very good. I'm about a half hour before bed too, because I normally don't go to bed until like between midnight and 1. So it's really late. So it's like midnight. I'd be having that snack, watching my episode of Cosby, and then I go to bed.
That's right. I got kind of
usually how it
like,
goes.
I got a bad stomach. I've said this before.
Yeah.
So like if I don't eat too close to bed, it's not going to be an easy night of sleep.
Yeah. So like Wendy's at midnight, totally reasonable in my mind.
Yeah.
Like
Wendy's anytime is reasonable.
no doubt. But I just know there's some people like I won't eat after 8 o'clock at night, regardless of what time I'm going to bed.
Wendy's might be a laying in bed type.
There's no chance, man. If I need a Baconator and a banana frosty that they got right now, I'm going to get myself frosty
go
swirl.
get it, but then I'd eat it in bed. That's something maybe I'd break the rule for at 30 minutes.
I don't eat in bed. I don't eat in bed. I don't want dogs in my bed. None of that stuff. No,
I'm okay with it all.
No, I'm against all of that. Down with Chillis, College Sports Weekly. Coming up next, we'll talk about the Bucks draft picks. Get his thoughts on those. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fiver, Charlie Usen producing the show. Again, if you missed last night's Pro Hoops draft show, definitely worth a listen. Go back, check it out. Brian Butch, Brandon Snide did a great job. Charlie Usen producing. Really, really fun listen. Last night they were on from 6 until 9 last night. You go back and listen to that. Where'd you put that? Best Bucks coverage page?
Yep, Best Bucks coverage, and then it's up on the front page of the website.
Go check it out. wisportsradio.com. wisportsradio.com. Joining us now to talk more about the Bucks draft picks. He is Wojczulis, host of College Sports Weekly, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Follow him on X at Butch_AFL. Mr. Wojczulis, how are you? It hasn't worked one time. I don't think that we've tried it with Wojczulis. I don't think it's happened. I don't think it's worked one time. We've tried this with Chillis with multiple times with Don. Multiple times. I don't think it's worked one time. I don't. We should just do phone going forward. That's okay. Hey, the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is proudly outfitted by Burghardt Sporting Goods, our official apparel partner. Outfit your team or company with custom apparel today at BSG1881.com. Again, BSG1881.com. And if you are in the area down here in southeastern Wisconsin, you are in Burghardt's out there in New Berlin, you may see me in there from time and time again. Always in there with the kid doing the batting cages and stuff. And if you do, say hi. All right, now we're going to go to the phone. I know he can work the phone. Don Wojczulis joins us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that is all. The next time you're in here on Saturday, I want you and Charlie to do a crash course on how to use this laptop of yours, buddy.
Oh, dear goodness. Yeah, I'll take the blame. I have to take the blame. I got no one else to push it off onto, but glad at least the phone is working.
Just blame Underberg. He's not here to defend himself.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So it's Dan's fault. Don, your thoughts. Charlie and I were talking before the show. He's like, hey, we should get Don on, man, because I'm sure he was watching a lot of the games of Arizona for certain, and probably some SEC and Tennessee and so forth. So let's start first with Braden Burries out of Arizona, who Brian Butch last night kept saying he was going to be a point guard. He's going to have to play off the ball. He's going to have to be a shooting guard. 6'4", can shoot the rock a little bit. What can you tell us about Burries?
Yeah, I think you're right, Steve. I think he's going to have to play off the ball a little bit, but he does at least have some ball handling skills where you could insert him at the point guard from time to time. I think he does his best work off the ball. He's very good at creating his own shot. He's very good off the pick and roll. There's a lot of good attributes that I think this young man can bring to the Bucks. It reminds me a lot of Malcolm Brogdon back in the day. I think there's some parallels there. So if that's the case over some time here, granted, we've got two very young draft picks coming into the fold, but I think at least from Braden's standpoint, the maturity level is there ahead of Nate Amon. I think he will plug and play quicker than what Nate will.
Okay. First of all, my initial reaction to that is he better be better than freaking Brogdon if we're taking him at 10 in the first round of the NBA draft. I guess that's my initial reaction. Nothing against Brogdon. He got $20 million a year in free agency when he left Milwaukee and got paid like he should have been a first-round pick and all of that, and that's fine. I get the comparison, right? Because he's not necessarily quick by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to take that outside shot. He can create probably a little bit for others that goes along with it. Brogdon, though, more of a point guard than he was an off guard.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. But again, we're looking at a 19-year-old who may be able to develop his skills with handling the ball here at the next level. I'm not writing the point guard position off. I understand exactly where you're coming from, but I think the potential is still there.
All right, so Burries, that was the pick that I wanted to last night. When it got to 10, I was like, okay, Burries should be the pick here, right? Let's be obvious. We knew they wanted Amon, but I want to make sure take the best player because you had Golden State and OKC. They weren't going to take a project behind the Bucks. So you felt pretty good that your guy that I think the Bucks wanted from the jump was him. What can you tell us about Nate Amon, Tennessee?
Nate Amon is extremely raw. I mean, here's a kid, 6'11", can play off the wing, unbelievable wingspan. But again, 19, 1 year of college basketball. I liked what he did at Tennessee. I mean, I thought he was in a very important part of what the Vols were doing. there's a maturity thing with him. And I saw it last night, Steve, and I'm not going to pretend to play a psychologist, maybe on TV once in my life, but that will be it, where I saw a young man who was essentially pouting when the Bucs didn't take him at 10. He looked disenfranchised. He looked sad. He looked irritated. And I'm thinking, kiddo, you're going to go here in the next 5 picks, whether it's the Bucs or not, you're going to be drafted. I didn't like the body language I got off of Ament, but I also have to remember he's 19 with 1 year of experience at the SEC level, hopefully with a little more maturity. That will be a complete misread on my part.
Just remember, you have agents. And what was the talk going into that draft? His floor is the Bucs at 10. He's not going by 10. And I'm willing to bet you that his agents told him, you will not go past 10. 10 is going to be it. You're going to be a top 10 pick. And this is what the money's going to be or whatever. And then all of a sudden he's not 10, probably not even thinking that the Bucs have 13 at that point. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. Why am I falling? Everybody told me I was going 10 at the worst. And now all of a sudden I'm sitting here and they passed on me.
Yeah, but then it should have been upon the agents to go to him and say, listen, now that the Giannis trade has taken place, they've got 2 in the top 15, that the highly likelihood is that they'll take best player available, in which they did in Burries, and that you're going to still end up in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Again, I completely understand what you're saying, Steve, and it's a complete disappointment when someone says you're going to have this over a period of time, and then for it not to happen. I get a little bit of disappointment. I hope I'm completely wrong. I just was not a fan of the body language.
Okay, let's continue to talk about the dude. So this is what we know about the dude. He's rail thin, needs to add muscle. We all know that. But even though he was rail thin, Rick Barnes, to his credit, they play physical. And he was getting hammered. He was getting to the free throw line, all of that. So this whole idea of, well, is he going to be physical and all of that at the next level? He showed that he's not going to shy away from contact, and he's going to play the way that he should. Now, I don't know what his ceiling is, mainly because when you look at him, you're expecting a better first step than what you get. Like, he doesn't have that explosive first step like an elite athlete would.
He doesn't necessarily have the explosive first step, but he's so fluid when he's moving on the floor.
Sure.
Now, granted, you do need that explosive first step, especially when you're in the league, because you're playing against unbelievable athletes. You're playing against SEC all-star caliber athletes each and every single night. I don't know if that's something that can be developed. So if it's something that can't be developed, if it's something not inherent, is there then the potential to work off that fluidity? Is there a potential, because he does such a good job of facing up to the hoop, when you build some size, working on some things along the post, maybe at the mid-range, that might make up for that lack of an explosive first step. We don't know what this Bucs team's going to evolve into with the amount of young talent they're going to bring in. So unlike when we had Giannis and we kind of knew how the offense would go, it's going to be interesting to see how they develop these 2 young players that they took last night.
Talking down with Joe's College Sports Weekly, Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. I haven't talked to you about your thoughts on what this looks like from a Bucs perspective with this Giannis trade, as far as what they got, including Casper the Friendly Ghost from Illinois. Your thoughts on what they got in return?
I thought they made the best trade possible. I mean, for so long, we were wondering, why didn't they trade before the trade deadline during the season? I don't think what was being offered at that point, at least what we see being reported, was to the extent of what the Bucs were able to get. I heard you and Charlie talking about it a little bit earlier. They were able to play maybe Boston a little bit, maybe some of the other teams, to have Miami throw in what they did. I think they did great. I mean, considering you've got a 31-year-old player in Giannis, granted one of the greatest of all time, there's still that age component that's going to be associated with Giannis and the past injuries. I think the amount of young talent and draft picks this Bucs team has picked up was a great job by the organization.
You like Casper?
I do.
Who is he?
What's that?
Who is he? Like you said, Burries is Brogdon. Who is he?
Oh, man, now I got to figure out who an equivalent is. I almost wanted to say Ken Benson, but that is completely me being facetious. I think you look at some of the bigger guys that you see working out of the West. I think there's some parallels there. I think you could pick a few players from either OKC. You could go over to San Antonio and look at some of the guys that work off the block there, and you could find some parallels. I don't know exactly off the top of my head who I would equate him to, but I think he's going to do some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not there.
I see you crinkling your forehead,
I'm
sir.
not.
It's
I'm
all
not.
right.
I'm not.
You are. It's all right.
Like, do I think he can play? I think he can play. Do I think he's going to be, an all-star starter or anything like that? No, I don't. I think he's probably a rotation guy. Do I think he takes out Ryan Rollins? I doubt it. I don't see that happening at this point. And then Burries, if he's going to be the 2, which I think we all think he's going to be the 2, I think he's just a rotational piece. Now, if he ends up being better than Rollins, well, that's a really good first step, because I think going into this year, you look at Ryan Rollins and go, well, he's going to average at least 20 a night. He may average 22 or 23 a night, especially if at some point they trade Tyler Hero. Rollins is going to be the major shot taker on this team.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect in this case any of the 2 we drafted last night to be nothing more than rotational pieces maybe for the next year or 2. I think there's got to be some development, and that will be, in my mind, the key as far as the Bucks go. The Bucks have not been very good at developing young talent under the former shall we say, coaching regimes that we've had over the past several years. It'll be interesting to see if this current regime that's now in place can develop this young talent and turn them into what we need.
Taylor Jenkins did it in Memphis. You can hope he can work his magic again here in Milwaukee. Mr. Wojczulis, I thank you so much. What's coming up on Saturday's College Sports Weekly show from 9 to 11?
Well, of course, we got to talk about the Sorsby thing. I heard you talking about that in the last segment. We'll pick up upon that. The NCAA doing the 5 for 5 now. It's a great start, but the way the state of the NCAA is, that'll be challenged in court. And also want to hopefully get some guys on who do the Blue and Gold podcast over in Michigan and talk about the fact that you've got another major coach from your athletic department who has exited stage left. And the rumor mill's starting to fly about a potential report that could be coming down in the next few months with regards to the Michigan athletic department.
Oh, you think they might be in some trouble?
Well, what is trouble these days? I have no idea.
Trouble. I'll categorize trouble. Trouble would be losing scholarships. Trouble would be vacating wins. That's trouble.
That could be more of the vacating scholarships. To me, the vacation of wins is a bit irrelevant. I heard you guys talking about the paper tiger before. That to me is a paper tiger move when you're pulling wins off of the record book. But maybe scholarships. It'll be interesting because again, the rumor mill is that Day left simply because he knows what's coming down the pike as far as this potential report goes. It's Michigan, Sparky. It's what they do.
Yep.
But they're no Michigan State. They're better than Michigan State.
They're better than Michigan State?
Yeah, Michigan State has its own problems too.
Look at Charlie setting the bar high there. There you go, sir.
There you go.
Learn from the best.
You learn from the best. But again, would you, but be honest though, would you take whatever they're about to go through at Michigan for a national championship in basketball or football for Wisconsin?
Yes.
Hell yes.
Simply
all day.
Simply because of the fact Michigan finds a way. They've given you the blueprint on how to rebound from the mess.
Yeah,
they have mess. And they find a way to rebound within a few years. Yes, I'll take the national championship.
I do not care what happens. If football ever won a national championship, it would be bigger than anything you could potentially see at this point. I mean, are the odds more stacked against the Badger football team of winning a national championship or more against the Brewers of winning a World Series?
I think the odds would be more against the Badgers.
Absolutely. No question. Even with all the salary disparity, way more difficult for Wisconsin to be able to win a national championship than the Brewers, even though they've never won one. Still way more difficult. Don, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your show.
Take care. There he is, Don Wojczulis. See how happy and perky he got when it was over? Did you see that? That happens sometimes with me. If you ever paid attention, guys get really excited. Oh, okay, sounds good. Have a good day. And the rest of the interview is like, la, 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 la. All right, thanks for going on. Hey, all right, sounds good. I'm done. Thank God. I'm out here.
Sometimes you're just a little negative. He seemed excited about the Bucks draft picks. You're excited, but I don't think.
I like the Bucks draft picks.
I don't know. Like, it just feels like you're still down for me.
I don't like. If you tell me 10 is Brogdon and that's what he is,
That's an important piece of a team.
That's not going to be good enough. No.
It's an important piece of a roster.
10's got to be better than Brogdon. Maybe that's unfair bar for me to set. And I see why he says Brogdon. Like, I get it. You can, when you put that in your brain and then watch Burries, you'd be like, okay, I get the Brogdon comparison. And then you go, but he went 10. Do I really want that out of 10? Don't I want somebody better than freaking Malcolm Brogdon? Anyways, coming up next, things that we missed on today's show. And don't forget, Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen is amazing. All-day brunch with steak and eggs, steak and bagel sandwich, pancakes, and more. Wisconsin-style appetizers that feature a lot of cheese, of course. It's got all things chicken, wings, tenders, build your own burgers. Desserts highlighted by the MVP Turtle Sundae, homemade pastries every day. The Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Tons of cold beverages to go with your all-star meal. Over 40 different beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Bet above the rest. Reserve your seat inside the sportsbook today by simply going to Potawatomi.com. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Before we go to break, I want to read one text. From RLB from the 414. Sparky, I just love you more now that I know you watch Cosby. You are the man.
That's crazy.
Thank you, RLB.
You guys are also old.
You the man, too. Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiver, Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. Thanks for tuning in today. Do appreciate it. Leadoff show, the big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz. He's going to be out at Summerfest. If you want pictures, autographs.
That was
all that stuff.
This bed music is the only time I will condone big old hunk of love.
Ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you got a girl now, but if a girl came up to you, pulled down her top and said, "Hey, I need you to sign this for me," would you?
Ooh.
We've had that happen over the course of time, so I'm just curious.
For money.
Not for money, just because you're on the air.
I can't do it for free now anymore. I feel like that's
just autographs in general. You're
hold
gonna
on.
start charging.
No. Hold on.
The
boob.
Yeah. The boobs.
Right.
I got worried about saying boobs.
This is the thing, though, right? Because you got a girl, so you think your girl's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's okay, Tommy, that you signed it as long as we made $20."
Yeah.
No chance.
I do think
no
so.
chance.
I promise.
No chance.
I promise.
No way.
First of all,
no way. You would be in the doghouse forever. No chance.
Do I get a phone call before I have to sign? Be like, hey, for $20, can I sign this woman?
Because it could happen at Summerfest on Friday.
First of all,
Tommy, just cover your eyes. That's fine.
The doubtful, like very doubtful that happens. Not because it's me, but because of the traffic that sports radio tends to attract. Usually there's not a lot of boobs coming over by us.
I remember doing a show at where was it?
God, we can't all be twisted steel and sex appeal like you, Spark.
It was at
Jeez.
I don't think it had anything to do with me the one time. But I think it was we were at McGillicuddy's, I want to say.
Oh yeah.
Downtown at Water Street. And we were in
where it is.
In the back patio area. This had to be 10, 12, 13 years ago.
Why are we doing shows in McGillicuddy's anymore?
Back port in the back like porch area.
Yeah.
This chick took her shirt off, took everything off, and was just hanging out with us and rubbing up on us. And, hey, what's going on? And we're doing the show. This girl did not care.
Dude,
just hanging out and partying.
How are you telling these stories
Crazy.
right now? You're like scared for me. I'm scared for you saying these stories.
It was like 12, 13, 15. I don't even know how long ago it was. A long time ago. It was Gary Ellerson and I, former Packer and Badger running back. We used to do post-game shows together after Packer games. We were there trying to do the post-game show, and this chick was just all about it.
On a Sunday night?
That was a Sunday afternoon.
Wow. I mean,
sun was out. It was, yeah.
Was it cold?
No. And yeah, no. It is 4:40.
Here's
this dude over here.
Boobs that you missed coming up here.
Could be a good morning show topic.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now.
It's funny. Charlie and Tommy are always like, dude, why couldn't I have worked here like back when all this crap was going on?
Dude.
Tim Allen tells them stories. I tell them stories. They're like, none of this stuff ever happens to
way
us.
cooler, man.
I already thought I was born in the wrong generation. I was definitely born in the wrong radio generation.
I'm telling you right now, the best generation is the 70s and 80s. That
For
was
radio?
Oh my goodness. You would have guys, girls, whatever, on the air playing music. You would bring them out to a club or whatever else. Girls just giving numbers. Here you go. We love you. We love you. It was like you were a rock star because you were on the radio playing, music at night or whatever the case may be. It was, it was unbelievable. It was crazy. I don't know. I'd have to look and see if we have pictures around here. But there used to be pictures around here of like guys and girls back in the day. They were like rock stars when they were on the radio. That's no longer the case. You have some around the state that draw bigger crowds. Like here in our building in Milwaukee, Elizabeth Kay and Radar, when they go on and do their show, they draw a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
Allie Faith, no matter where she is, she always draws a ton of people. So there are still some like that, but that's a dying thing.
Well, I was just going to say, I also think it's just the nature of like how the world was going out like that and that culture of it. Not even just radio in general. I met my girlfriend online, right?
Yeah,
so
that wasn't a thing.
Right, yeah. You wouldn't even dare do that now.
No, and you wouldn't dare have Brewer players like Gorman Thomas drinking with you next at the corner bar in a little neighborhood somewhere in Milwaukee. that wouldn't be happening either. Like, you're not going to go to a corner bar that's, smells of like smoke and whatever else it may smell like, and Yelich plops down next to you and orders a beer. Like, that is never going to happen. I got a question for you since you are on the microphone, Tommy Wirtz.
Sure.
We asked earlier after Sproat did what he did last night.
Yeah.
What more does Sproat have to do to get Murphy to have confidence in him?
Well, he's got to outperform Robert Gasser. I think that's the first test, right? If we're assuming,
because nobody's got more heat than Sproat all year.
Correct. Yeah, but I think that he's also in maybe the most competitive positional group on this team right now. The starting pitching depth is ridiculous for this Brewers team. You're not touching Miz and Harrison. That's non-negotiable.
The rest is all up for debate. But I think that's two of those are health depending debates. If Henderson and Woodruff are healthy, they also are non-negotiables. Like Henderson, we're having this conversation, me and Tim is talking about how Sproat passes Henderson one day and Henderson passes Sproat the next day. Logan Henderson, all he ever does when he pitches is shove. I mean, all he does. I don't think he's ever gotten shelled in Major League Baseball. He used it again.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, but he knew it before a year ago.
He taught me that word, but I don't use it. You'll never hear me say it.
Wait, is that me? You say shove?
We talked about it. We talked about it earlier. No, I don't. We talked about it earlier that you texted me last night. Hey, Sproat is shoving, or however you put it.
Yeah.
And I was like, look at me, Charlie. I actually know what that means. And Charlie's like, you knew what that meant? I'm like, yeah, Tommy taught me that word last year. And then Charlie's like,
I called him a poser because he didn't just organically.
That's a baseball.
Don't ignore.
That's a baseball term. We got like Big Dog Chase will call in and be like, you see all the punchies he had tonight? Do you know that one?
Strikeouts?
Yeah, punch outs.
Just
right?
literally a guess.
Same.
Alan Cedarberg, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Al?
Spark Dog, thank you for bringing me down memory lane, because radio personalities were rock stars back in the day. And I mean, I sound so old right now, but even just being 38, from 2008, 2010, I worked in sports radio, and I wanted to sign up for every remote because they were like parties.
Yep.
And when you said that you were going to be broadcasting live, I mean, that was a thing. Oh, yeah, the radio is going to be there. I mean, we didn't have the streaming access, and there wasn't as much with tons of podcasts. I mean, Simmons was in his early stage, but when you're talking about content, like experiential live remotes, like those were unreal. And no, they're not dying. We got to bring those back. Like, we have to. So I'm going to leave on that note. Thanks, guys.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Yeah, no question. They were. Back in the day, Tim Allen and I would do post-game shows at this place called Fiesta Garibaldi over by the park on Blue Mountain. Bar would be packed after every game when we were doing post-game shows. People are doing shots, taking pictures. Like, it was a party. Brewers players would come rolling in after the shows. After they were done playing, we'd be doing a post-game show. Like Giovanni Gallardo and those guys, they would sit down, start talking to us and doing the show. Like, I mean, yeah, back in the day, it's pretty crazy. Hey, Tom, you got a text here from the Nicolay Law Talking text line. Scotty Tiffany says, look out, Tommy, next time I see you. LOL.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Jeez.
boy, hey.
Schlitz hat. Relax, dude. There's all of them there.
Schlitz hat's going to be mad at Scotty Tiffany's doing that.
What I'm saying. $20.
May have to get you some security from Schlitz hat Pat.
Dude,
say it.
20. I don't even know. I don't know what to do anymore. We got
him flustered.
That's
amazing.
We got
so good.
I was gonna make a Cal joke because Cal's texting me during this too. But I don't have it. We don't have time for it.
No, good. So Wisconsin Sports Daily live from the Wisconsin Sports
You're
Radio
the one who
Network
brought up
Studios.
boobs on air.
Powered by the Potawatomi Sports Talk, the big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz is coming up next with the leadoff show. Get you ready for Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds. Game 3, and then after the game, Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim and Tommy. Have a good night, Wisconsin. Toodles!